How y'all doing? Redneck Programmer here. So let's dive back in. We're on video 9. And like I said in the previous video, I want to cover something that'll help you think like a software developer. How to problem solve using code. Okay? Because what we have is a program that runs if people put exactly what we're expecting into it. We don't anticipate the unexpected at this point, but we need to. And that's what you need to think about. They're called edge cases. For example, let's get into our code and I'll show you. So let's run it. What we got right here is, how many drinks have you had? We said 36 ounces last time. Are you male or female? Well, here's the thing. Our program is only designed to accept male or female. If we put something else in, what does it do? Well, let's see here. Well, what happens if I put in a number? 36 again. Well, it says you entered 36. Well, why does it take that? It's going to the next one. Weight in pounds? Well, let's see what happens if I put in male here. Uh-oh, it says input mismatch exception. Well, that's not going to work. So let's run it one more time. How many drinks have you had? Well, let's see if it does the same thing. Male here. Another input mismatch. So what it's doing is it's expecting an integer. It's expecting a number, and we're giving it a string, and it doesn't know what to do, so it crashes. Well, we don't want it to crash. Even if something goes wrong, you don't want your program to crash. You want it to fail successfully. That's what you want it to do. I like that. So let's see. What does it do with the string? Because it can accept any string. So let's do 36. Now let's do blue. And then let's put the rest in correctly. And how many hours? Because we did that last time. Well, let's say I'm 0.93. Well, how's it doing a calculation if we put in blue as our gender? Well, let's go down to our function here. It's saying if it equals male. Well, if it equals male, then it does this calculation. But we don't have if it equals female or anything else. So anything else we put in besides male, it's going to do this calculation. All right? So we could fix this here, but let's look at something called input validation. Let's start validating our input. We're going to use something new called a while loop. There's different kinds of loops. There's for loops, for each, while, do while. Let's just focus on the while loop right here. And we're going to make another conditional, just like down here in our function. So we need to decide how many chances, because we want to give them a couple of chances, right? We want to say if they put something in accidentally and it's not male or female, we want to give them another chance to put in the right information, right? So first of all, we're going to need a counter on how many chances they get. So let's create that counter. We're going to make it an integer and set the count at 2. Why are we setting it at 2? To give them 3 chances. Well, when you're a programmer, you don't start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's 5. It's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's 6. So for 3 chances, we put 0, 1, 2. So we say, are you male or female? And then it initializes a count. Now here we're going to put our while in. While doing something, do something else. There's a joke that says, while a man went to the grocery store and his wife said, while you're at the grocery store, buy a gallon of milk. Well, he never left the grocery store, so he just kept buying milk over and over. That's called an infinite loop, right? You have to break out of a loop at some point. So while we're doing something, what are we doing? Well, we're looking at this count, right? So while the count is greater than or equal to 0, do something. Because if it's greater than or equal to 0, that means it's 0, 1, or 2. It's 3 chances. Now we're going to add our conditional. We're going to start at the worst case scenario and then work our way down. Okay? So worst case scenario, if the gender is not equal to male. Now notice I use an exclamation here. That means not. Okay? That means if it's equal to male, not equal to male. Now we're going to learn another operator called an and, which is a double ampersand, and the gender is not equal to female. We're going to do one more and. How many can you put in here? Well, you can't put too many in, but this is a good demonstration. And the count is equal to 0. That's our worst case scenario. So what do we do if that happens? Well, we're going to give them a message out, print line, that says, you have had too many, don't drive. Because if you can't put the information in correctly, you probably don't need to be operating a vehicle, right? Oh, and as you can see here, I forgot to put in my count. Apparently I already put it up there. Now then, it's complaining about something here. It's complaining about our gender. Well, we don't need this gender input actually. We can just say gender because we've already declared that variable up here. So let's just say gender. So it comes in here. Let's look at it so far. It asks the question, and then it takes an input. It puts it in here, sets the count to 2, and then goes into this while loop. While this count is greater than or equal to 0, and this isn't equal to male, and the gender isn't equal to female, and the count is equal to 0. Notice I use double equals here. That works as an equals. Then print this out, okay? But then we're going to have to do something after it prints that out, because then the program will just keep running. So we're just going to do a system exit with a status of 1. We won't worry about statuses. We'll just exit as a status of 1. Let's get rid of this. Now the next condition, else, if what? So this is if the gender equals male, or that's the double pipe shift backslash for the one above the enter. Gender equals female and the count is greater than 0. Because if the count's greater than 0, keep going, right? So what do we do if that happens? Well, we break out of the loop because that means they've put in the right information. Okay? Then it breaks and then it goes down to here. That's what we want to do. Now there's one more, because we have our worst case scenario, our best case scenario. Now this is their extra chance. So if the gender is not equal to male, or the gender is not equals to female, but the count is not equal to 0. So let's put count in. We got a problem. What's the problem here? Oh, we need to put in count, obviously. Now then, what happens with this count? How do we control this value? Well, we do it with what's called a decrement. So an increment would be count plus plus, or plus plus count, or count equals count plus 1, or count minus 1. You can do it a bunch of ways. We're going to do it this way. So we're counting down from 2 to 0. So we're going to do count minus minus. Then we're going to give them another chance, right? We got to tell them something. So we're going to say system out, print line, and we're going to say gender, whatever they entered, concatenate string is invalid. Whatever you put in is not right. Now we're going to do what's called a new line, /n, please enter male or female. Now we give them the other chance. Gender is equal to scanner next. All right, let's run this and see what happens. All right, it compiles. That's a good sign. So we got 36. Are you male or female? I'm Bubba. Bubba's invalid. Please enter male or female. I'm Blue. Blue is invalid. Please enter male. I'm Buford. You've had too many. Don't drive. Well, that's if they can't put it in, right? And notice it didn't crash. It exited successfully. So let's do 36. And then we'll do Bubba again. And now we'll put something incorrect. And notice it comes back down to here. So that's just an example of how we can validate some of our data so that our program doesn't crash if we receive an input that we're not expecting. And we could and probably should go through every one of these and validate all of these inputs. Make sure they're the right what? The right data type and a value that we're expecting. So in the next video, we're going to look at something called a try-catch block or a try-catch finally block. So check out the next one. Thanks, y'all.